Because the reality is, in everything you do, there's going to be people who don't like you and people who do like you. Support and not support. Just remember that the sound of the people who don't support you may be louder, but they're a smaller group of people. So it's okay. Just leave them aside, do your thing.
The next part is in Thai we call, especially in this program we call คำถามนี้ไม่ถามไม่ได้นะครับ is the questions are about the real size beauty. There's a lot of question around this, campaign, a really good campaign that you advocate. So first, some people think real size beauty is not the right campaign in pageantry. So instead of advocating this idea in this industry, being bullied and still judged to win the crowd, why not advocating for no beauty pageant at all? Because beauty is subjective anyways and cannot be judged. So what do you think about this opinion?
I actually used to be one of those people. And when you see women walk on stage and in swimsuits and in evening gowns, it's hard for you not to look at beauty in terms of what you see by the eye. But I think because pageantry, especially everywhere, you do see a different variety of women in terms of looks, and now we see shape. And I think it teaches us to find our own version of beauty that is not exterior. And on a stage like Miss Universe Thailand, which I mentioned to me is empowering, it makes sense to use this message, this campaign, for a stage that is empowering, that pushes people to break stereotypes. And for saying why not have beauty pageants at all, why, what's the point? The point is we all come with a purpose. We all come with a message that's bigger than us, bigger than the beauty. So you mix something that's what some may call superficial, which is exterior beauty, with something that's deep and meaningful. So I think that's why. I think that's what I'd have to say.
So let's step back a little bit. Let's start with what is real size beauty? What is the definition of real size beauty in your opinion?
Real size beauty, to not sound, textbook,
okay.
It is about celebration of you. And it's about looking at what you're capable of and your values that are beyond what you look like on the outside. It's there to represent everyday people, real people. And your realness is not purely exterior. It's about, celebrating what you have inside, your values, your principles, your core, while celebrating your exterior. It's essentially about the acceptance of diversity into one big campaign. And I think also what I want to mention is a lot of people tend to misinterpret real size beauty as just size, but it reminds me of this campaign that my school NIST has, which is called I Weigh. And it's a campaign that talks about what you weigh in terms of who you are. So I remember saying, I weigh my love for what I do. I weigh my love for my parents. And it's that makes up who you are. And real size beauty is essentially that. It's what are you in terms of what you stand for. And celebrate that. Be unapologetic about it. It's you.
Okay. And so with this definition, from the perspective of someone who advocate this campaign, what kind of a person do you think will be the best fit for the Miss Universe crowd? what are the qualities that we should looking for?
For me, it's someone who's genuine,
Okay.
who does something with a purpose. We can't deny that, with the crown comes the spotlight. And I think if you're looking for that spotlight, I think that might be the wrong reason, purely for the spotlight. Someone who wants the spotlight for the right reason, someone who has something to say that will benefit our community. Someone who can be that voice when someone else doesn't have a voice. It's about confidence with who you are and what you stand for. I think that to me is someone who would deserve to be Miss Universe.
During your journey of becoming Miss Universe in Israel, it seemed like your message has reached a large number of people. It's affect Thai society very much. However, there were many people who harshly criticized your figure. How did those negative comments and body shaming affect you at the time?
I'd be lying if I said it didn't affect me at all. Because I am human, and when you, as I mentioned earlier, right, these negative comments tend to be louder than the support, whether you like it or not. So there were times where it definitely really affected me. But because I'm not the type of person to ask for pity, I really kept it to myself. I didn't go to my team, I didn't go to my parents, I didn't go to my friends. I didn't want them to worry because I had this goal, this job, this responsibility I had to do at the time. And they were worried enough. So because of that, I really had to learn how to quickly deal with my emotion before it pulled me down further. And it goes back to my campaign. Like, believe it or not, it's still something that empowers me today. Seeing more people do it, seeing more people celebrate themselves, pushes me more to continue to celebrate myself. Because as humans, we have ups and we have downs. So this collective campaign is how I dealt with it. Is really how I moved on.
Yeah, that's true because I remember during that time, many friends in my Facebook friends post picture of themselves in a swimming suit. Many of them never do that before, but you encourage them to respect themselves, and so yeah. I just want to know that during that time you play like social media a lot, or you try to avoid them, because there's a good and bad vibe about your campaign in the social media during that time.
Yeah, well, first of all, I also want to just say that those friends of yours that post their pictures, like, I hope they know that during that time they're also the ones inspiring me, so thank you. And it is hard to not be on social media.
Yeah, I know.
Because it was my job to show people what I was doing and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I had to find the balance, and I was really lucky that with the work, with all the activities we had to do, I didn't want to be on my phone. I wanted to be focused on the activity. So I would post what I had to post, put my phone away, and not look. But it's at night where, the images have been there for a while, the comments start really coming in, where I will have a look. And some days I'll look and it'll be really positive stuff. And some days you see negative stuff, so I was on social media, but I wasn't. I think I found the balance, and depending on the day, I took it to heart, and other days I didn't.
Did you find any good technique to live with that bad comments or bad vibe that come with the social media? Did you?
Yeah. It was, first of all, it was what kind of negative comment was it?
Okay.
Was it something that I could have improved in? Was it something that could have made me do my job better? Or was it a comment that just purely was trying to put me down? So if it was positive, if it was constructive criticism, I would listen. If it was negative, and depending on how bad it is, I would either laugh or I would be like, okay, that feeling hurt me, like that hurt, I'm hurt. And then, so what? I'm hurt. What can I do about it? Nothing. And then it just leaves my body.
Wow.
So I had a few techniques,
Okay.
depending on my mood.
But most of them rely on how strong you are inside out, right? You really need to be really strong to survive this kind of thing, right?
Yeah. But if I'm being honest, if I didn't have my campaign, I don't think I'd be as strong as I am today. Because when I saw those comments, it was like, this is exactly why I'm doing this. And my campaign just pulled me back to work mode. It's time to work. But also, I did get warned from the beginning that I have put myself in a position where people will dislike you and criticize you, and that is normal. You're entitled to your opinion, but as long as it doesn't disrespect someone else, I think that's where I draw the line. But I'm happy to take it. I'm happy to take the criticism so someone else doesn't have to.
So, what do you think are some of the key factors that disable a group of people to see the importance of your campaign, Real Size Beauty campaign?
I think some people think it's an excuse to be lazy, to let yourself go. I think that's a big one. And I think some people sometimes think it takes away the work of the other contestants, that they work to have what they believe is their ideal body. And the truth is it's not. It's a campaign for all of us. It's a campaign for us people. And, if people think it's possible for me to get a certain type of body that people have prior to this seemed to view as beautiful. I cannot do that without disregarding my health. It's just not possible because we all have so many different physiques. But the one thing I've never done was not be healthy. And I think that's one of the biggest miscommunications that my campaign has led to. It is an excuse to be lazy and not take care of yourself when it's not. And it takes away the hard work of other women, which it doesn't, because we understand that we're all different.
There are many people who agree with you on this campaign, but some of the people, including many of my friends who are real fan of Miss Universe contest, they agree with the Real Size Beauty campaign, but they think in terms of a beauty pageant, there must be some standard, or maybe there are some criteria for each contest. So it might not be good to do this in the beauty pageant. How do you respond to this comment?
Yeah, I've actually heard that a lot.
Yeah.
We have to ask back, right? What is beautiful?
Okay.
What is beautiful to you? Are you measuring someone based on their exterior beauty? Is that what beauty pageants really are? Or is it actually a way to again, be a platform to use your voice for the better. Isn't that also beautiful? Isn't who you are inside beautiful? We also have to understand that, beauty standards and trends constantly change. It's not a, linear line. What was beautiful 50 years ago is a different version of beautiful today. So this standard, I think, is also the very reason that sometimes we get these issues of young women and young men feeling these pressures to fit into these norms when these norms are constructed. Who are the people that have constructed these norms? These norms that are often sometimes unattainable. I think beauty is not exterior. And I think as we grow up, as we get older, as we experience more things, we tend to understand that it segregates too many people when it doesn't have to. So beauty pageants are your own standards. Your beauty comes from within. As long as you're confidently beautiful in who you are, I think that should be the standard.
Cool. I agree with you, and from my perspective, at first I agree with those comments. Yeah, in some certain contexts there are certain criteria to be crowd, but then it's like you go up there and speaking out loud that, yeah, but I want to change that, and maybe it's time to change that. So yeah, I agree with you, and I hope you can spread this understanding of the beauty to more and more people.
Thank you. I hope so too.
What is your opinion about the cosmetic surgery?
So, all these procedures, I think, if I remember correctly, it's come from a reason, it developed from people who have these certain disabilities that actually affect their everyday life, right? So they undergo these enhancements or these things so that they can begin to live a relatively normal life. And I think how it's developed now is it's actually a really good way for people to build that inner confidence. But I also think there's a line between why you do it and why you shouldn't do it. And if it's truly, and I really want people to take a step back and reflect on why they want to undergo these certain cosmetic surgeries, and if it's really for themselves, then that is your right and that is fine, because we're in such a liberal world now. But to do it and to fit into certain standards and these norms, I don't agree with, because beauty standards change, and if you're not confident with who you are already and you're pushing yourself to fit into these norms, I feel like you're always going to be able to find things that you think are wrong with you when there's nothing wrong with you, because it's, what you're feeling is inside. So I think it's your right. I think if you want to do it for you, that's up to you. But if you're doing it for other people to fit into these ever-changing standards, I would encourage people to reflect back on that first.
Okay, so if someone exercise their right to alter their look, not for the standard, the new standard anyway, is that considered real size beauty to you? If they, willing to do that by themselves and with their confidence and their right, reasons.
Absolutely. Because they're celebrating themselves, right? And real size beauty, we don't segregate. I think there's enough segregation and, communities breaking apart. Like it's for all of us. And if you are still celebrating yourself, then it is absolutely real size beauty.
Okay. So next question is about people who, encouraged by you and be more confident with themselves, with how they dress, how they express themselves in public. But in real life, they might work in the environment of people who not understand about real size beauty or disagree with the real size beauty campaign. So they will still be bully, body shaming. So how do you encourage them to still do that, or how to tell them how to live with that kind of toxic situation sometimes?
I've gotten in trouble for my opinion on this before.
Okay.
I think it's their problem. I think it's the bully's problem. I think there is aspects to bullies and this toxicity that is a reflection on them rather than the reflection on that person who celebrates themselves. We got to just push through it. We fight together, right? We'll fight through this change together and understand that people will always have their opinions, and it's more of a reflection on them and what they believe than it is on you and your capabilities and your inner beauty and your values. So once you celebrate and continue to celebrate yourself, I think you will begin to unapologetically be who you are, but also you'll feel liberated. I think you'll feel freer from this toxicity, because the reality is in everything you do, there's going to be people who don't like you and people who do like you. Support and not support. Just remember that the sound of the people who don't support you may be louder, but they're a smaller group of people. So it's okay. Just leave them aside, do your thing.
So if everyone in the society fully embrace the idea of real size beauty, what will our society look like? What will be changed? What is the final image of this campaign?
Oh, I think, first of all, we would relieve a lot of pressure from our future generation. I think it would really allow them to focus on what truly matters to them. But most importantly, I think we'll have so many different opinions and so many different perspectives that innovation may actually be really interesting and encouraged. But also, I think we'll see the beauty of different perspectives, the beauty of how different perspectives come together without disrespect. We'll see more respect in opinions and people who are more free. They feel more free and encouraged to express their opinions and their beliefs. So I see a really crazy diverse world with a lot of rapid changes and innovation that better our communities for generations to come.
Okay. During the Miss Universe in Israel, during the contest, many people used your campaign to attack back to you in some, part of the contest. So, if you could travel back in time and fix one thing during the time you were in Israel, what would you like to fix the most?
I don't want to say that I want to go back and fix anything, because that leads to regret. And right now, the only thing I can do is move forward and continue to advocate in the best way I can and fulfill my duties and responsibilities of being Miss Universe Thailand as best as I can. And if I go back and I say, I should have done that, I should have done this, it doesn't change anything. And I think the regret, that sense of regret, is one of the hardest things for anyone to be able to move forward from.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't go fix anything because I don't want to look back and regret anything.
Wow, you know what? This is a really good answer, and that's make that question a really bad question. So I change it. let me rephrase my question. What is the most important lesson you've learned from Israel?
Oh, the most important lesson.
Maybe from your fail in some part of the contest or anything. Yeah, because you don't like to go back and fix it, but I think it gives you some lesson, right?
Yeah. It's okay to fail.
That's
It's
right.
okay to not live up to the expectations of hundreds and thousands of people. It's okay. And you know, when you don't fulfill that desire of people and people view you as a failure or a disappointment to a country, it's okay because it has to be okay. And you get reminded of these silver linings. And that was also another lesson I learned. You know, when you don't succeed, some things go your way, some things don't. That's just the reality of what we have to live through. But it just shows you the beauty of silver linings, the beauty of the simple things in life. Like after I didn't make it into the top 16, hugging my family was so much more warm. And my campaign was so much more fulfilling because it was like, we have more work to do and I'm ready to keep pushing it. So failure, I wouldn't even call it failure. Disappointment. Disappointment doesn't always have to stay that way. Yeah, that would be the biggest lesson I learned.
What is your duty as Miss Universe Thailand 2021, and what do you intend to do during this role?
Well, first of all, I really want to continue in the entertainment industry and make a positive impact in the industry as well, and meeting people. I love meeting people, so it's one of those things I will still continue to do. But
Okay.
the biggest thing I want to do is I actually want to go talk to children or teenagers in school. I actually really want to speak at these schools and share my opinion, and I want to hear their opinions, and I really want to truly understand them. And I say teenagers because I think they're at that age where they're still developing their own opinions, but there's still influence of other opinions coming in. So I think it'll be a really good group to just go straight in and advocate for real size beauty as their opinions are still shaping and forming into the adult that's, you know, years to come with this foundation. So that's what's next. That's what I want to do with this title at the moment.
Okay. So the next question is quite important because I think most Thai people, especially ones who support you at the Miss Universe contest, want to hear the answer from you, because this is the question that used in the final of Miss Universe in Israel. You missed the chance to answer that on that stage, but now you have a chance to answer this question here.
Okay.
So the question is, what advice would you give to young women watching on how to deal with the pleasures they face today?
I would say in everything you do, you're going to have people who like you and people who don't like you. And that is okay. That is all part of growing up. And I think the pressure you feel as you grow up really shows that you care about what you want to do for your future and what your future holds. I would say if you continue to just stay who you are and celebrate yourself, pathways and opportunities open up when you least expect them to. When you turn around and you ask yourself the question of why you're doing what you're doing and what it is you truly want to do, these pressures will dim. Just dim those sounds and turn up the volume for the people who support you, because those are the ones who are genuine for what you want to do and compete in, and or whatever it is you may want to do. And just listen to that sound, because you will figure it out.
Wow.
Yeah, I would say that. Thank you.
I think every time people would like to hear this on the stage. Okay, so according to MUT contract, you will be working with them for 1 year, right? So once you have complete this duty, what are you planning to do next?
Oh, okay. So I've got a 1-year contract as a nangam and then a 2-year contract as a silapin.
Oh,
so
okay,
I do want to stay in the industry. It's a very fun industry to be in, for sure. It's really exciting to see the development of the industry too, from when I first looked into it and then now. So I definitely want to stay in the industry. I am very open to trying a lot of things. Maybe I can be a singer, who knows? Or acting. I want to play a villain, which is I think it'll be a fun role to play.
Okay.
But like a deep one, you know, one where it's not drama where you slap people. I think it's like intrinsically dark. I would really love to try to play that role. But we'll see. We'll see what the future holds. But I definitely want to stay in this industry.
Cool. So another thing about what you're doing right now is your campaign, Real Size Beauty. So after you're off the MUT duty, how would you sustain this campaign? And so this idea won't be, you know, swept away with the new trends.
I think with what I'm doing right now is what I want to do is talking to teenagers and people in school. So it's rooted in their minds. It's something they constantly think about. And I will always continue to encourage people to join the campaign and lead it by example. I think to continue for it to grow and to keep its momentum, it has to start with the person who advocates for it so strongly, to stay that way, to stick to that campaign, to stick to the values of that campaign. And I think leading by example truly is one of the best ways to influence people, but to also have them open their minds to it. So I'm very lucky to be in an era where social media is so prominent and can really make an impact. So I will continue to use my platform for the better. And I think talking to these children in school really will make it a norm, where it no longer becomes a campaign, it becomes normal.
So you believe in your authenticity strongly. However, being a public figure may require you to follow, you know, social expectations or job descriptions. How do you, you know, find a balance between these two sides, if you still want to stay in this industry?
Yeah, so it's something I'm definitely learning right now, but I feel like I'm very, very, very lucky with where I am right now, because everyone I've worked with, and I have to probably thank a lot of my team for that, like my manager, you know, my feline agency, TPN, for screening the jobs beforehand, because they'll never make me do something that I'm not comfortable with and that I don't believe in. So I'm very lucky to be in that sense. But for example, the music video I did with Pimil, his song was all about diversity and acceptance and being who you are. So I got the opportunity to work as me, as something I believe in. So I think there's definitely room to work while staying true to who I am because I've got a team that, screens everything. And if it's not something I believe in, I don't want to influence people to believe in it too. So finding the balance is simply by not doing it if it's wrong. If it's wrong, yeah.
On Miss Universe Thailand stage in your final round, you once said, if you are neutral, you are on the side of the opposite. Can you please explain a bit more about this?
First of all, there's a difference between being neutral and being ambivalent. Being neutral to me is you just sit back and you don't do anything when you have an opinion. Being ambivalent is when you're unsure, right, of what to believe in. So there's a difference in that. But if you're neutral, especially if you're in a position where your voice can make an influence and you're not doing something about your voice, because everyone has the right to express their opinion, I really do believe that you're on the side of the opposer, especially because opinions matter. Opinions are the very reason we have all these developments and advancements and, aspects to achieve justice. So if you have a voice, if you have an opinion and one that can make an impact, use it. Because if you're not using it, then what's the point of having one? What's the point of forming all these thoughts if we can't influence it for the better? So that's what I mean by it.
So this is very sensitive. So please carefully answer this question. From what I've heard from the answer of that question, did you mean neutral is equal to ignorance?
Yes.
Be careful.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I think we have the responsibility to not ignore. You can't have developments, you can't have all these changes if you choose to ignore things. It doesn't work that way. So you have that responsibility towards yourself and your community to stay educated and to stay educated where you can, to make the effort to, if you have the ability to, the flexibility to, and form these opinions that can influence for the better. And I think it is ignorant if you choose to not do anything about it when you have the ability to.
Okay, so we need to be really careful when we translate your answer into Thai because for Thai people, okay, I will speak this part in Thai. คือคำว่า neutral ในความหมายที่แอนพูดเมื่อสักครู่นี้เนี่ยผมไม่แน่ใจว่าแปลเป็นไทยว่าเป็นกลางเนี่ยมันถูกต้องหรือเปล่าเพราะว่าคำว่าเป็นกลางหรือความเป็นกลางของคนไทยเนี่ยมันไม่ได้แปลว่าไม่แสดงความเห็นบางทีมันมีความหมายว่าก็แสดงความเห็นแหละแต่แสดงความเห็นแบบเท่ากันเข้าข้างเท่ากันทั้งสองข้างไม่ได้เข้าข้างใดข้างหนึ่งแต่สิ่งที่แอนพูดเมื่อสักครู่นี้แอนพยายามจะบอกว่า neutral ในที่นี้หมายความว่าคุณนั่งอยู่เฉยๆตรงกลางแล้วไม่พูดอะไรเลยใช่ไหมครับ is that right
ใช่ค่ะ
โอเค
ใช่ค่ะ
ดังนั้นตรงนี้ก็เลยต้องอธิบายให้คุณผู้ชมเข้าใจก่อนเพราะว่ามิฉะนั้นแล้วเนี่ยตัวนี้ผมถือว่าเซนซิทีฟถ้าเกิดสมมุติว่าเข้าใจผิดปั๊บเนี่ยมันจะเดี๋ยวทัวร์ไปลงแอนอีกนะฮะดังนั้นเนี่ยนิวทรัลที่แอนพูดเมื่อสักครู่นี้แอนถึงค่อนข้างมั่นใจและบอกว่ามันเท่ากับ ignorance ดังนั้นคำว่า neutral ในความหมายของแอนคือนั่งเฉยๆปล่อยให้สองฝ่ายเนี่ยถกเถียงกันโดยที่ เราไม่ออกความเห็นอะไรทั้งสิ้นแต่แอนสนับสนุนให้ออกความเห็นมาเถอะจะฝั่งไหนก็ตามหรือแม้จะยังไม่เลือกฝั่งก็ได้แต่ก็ออกความเห็นเรื่องนี้ฝั่งนี้น่าสนใจแต่เรื่องนี้ฝั่งนี้น่าสนใจกว่าใช่ไหมครับนี่คือความหมายที่แอนพยายามจะสื่อสาร
ใช่ค่ะใช่ค่ะ
Okay.
โดยเฉพาะถ้ามันช่วยสังคมช่วยความคิดให้มันพัฒนาขึ้นมันมีในแง่บวก like influence ในสิ่งที่ดีอะค่ะแอนเชื่อว่ามันเป็นสิ่งที่เราควรออกความคิดเห็นใน
แล้วช่วงนี้ขออนุญาตคุยเป็นภาษาไทยเพราะว่าผมว่ามันเซนซิทีฟเดี๋ยวแปลคลาดเคลื่อนแล้วเดี๋ยวจะพังนะครับคือผมรู้สึกว่าถ้าเสริมจากที่แอนพูดเมื่อกี้นี้นะครับก็คือเราออกความเห็นและเราเปลี่ยนความเห็นก็ได้ใช่ไหมแอนเช่นบางครั้งเราเทคไซส์ A แต่หลังจากได้ออกความเห็นแล้วฟังความเห็นไปสักพักเฮ้ยเปลี่ยนไปเทคไซส์ B ดีกว่าเพราะว่าเหตุผลไซส์ B ดีกว่าทำนองนี้หรือเปล่าครับ
ใช่ค่ะใช่เป็นสิทธิ์ของคุณของแบบ
ภาษาอังกฤษก็ได้ครับถ้าเกิดสมมุติจะถนัดกว่า
Yeah, so I think the change of opinion is okay because our minds are constantly thinking, constantly developing, and sometimes when you don't have the information that you didn't think you needed, and you form a certain opinion, and then you get another piece of information, and then you form another opinion. I think that's okay. I think that's all part of the development of the human mind.
So let's give our opinion. Let's exchange opinions, right? Don't just sit there and do nothing.
Yeah.
Okay. So the last two question. As someone who has experienced lots of negative comments, what do you think is the thin line that separates freedom of expression and bullying?
When you disrespect another person. When you're allowed to share your opinion and that's encouraged, as long as you respect that person in your opinion.
The word
I think
respect.
it's a thin line.
The word respect is another word that in Thai the meaning might be slightly different from English because in Thai when we translate respect in Thai is mean เคารพ so Thai people tend to เคารพครูบาอาจารย์เคารพ our teacher เคารพ our parents เคารพ our ancestor but respect in this context is mean respect in human right other human being so could you explain more about the meaning of respect in this context
Sure. So like something as simple as if I tried a dress on and it didn't look that good on me, right? And I asked for your opinion and you're like, oh, it's a nice dress, but maybe it doesn't suit you because the stripes don't look great on you. Maybe this might be better. Instead of, if you were to say, or anyone were to say, น่าเกลียดทำให้ดูอ้วน
yeah
like
okay
share your opinion but that's bullying and then there's expression of
okay so your statement here I am is one of the most popular statements shared in social media to those not fitting in the beauty standard feeling excluded judged or hurt so if they are watching your interview right now what would you like to say to them say to the camera please
I would say from that day to today we've come a long way and it just shows that when we work together and we have this message that's so important it can be achieved and we are achieving it. So I hope you know that I am still here today for you and I still hear you and I still see you. And because I always say what I'm doing is bigger than me, I'm here for you and that will never change.
The last question, you can take your time with this question. What is your most important life lesson until now?
It would have to be my experience at Miss Universe. It's okay to not be successful in what you do. Sometimes you fail, sometimes you don't. And it's about what you do about it after. It's about finding the silver lining after. And it's cheesy, but it's how you get up and go on because that is just life. And I'm so grateful I learned it at such a young age. So despite the failure, if people may view it that way, at Miss Universe, there is success at the same time. And it's all part of life.
Anchilee Scott Kemmis, thank you very much. ขอบคุณมากครับ
ขอบคุณมากค่ะ ขอบคุณมากค่ะ
ขอบคุณคุณผู้ชมทุกท่านสำหรับการติดตามรายการป๋าเต็ดทอล์กนะครับ และถ้าชอบเนื้อหารายการของเรา คุณสามารถกดไลค์ใน Facebook นะครับ กด See First เพื่อที่จะได้มั่นใจว่าจะได้เห็นตอนใหม่ก่อนใครนะครับ Subscribe ใน YouTube Channel ของเรา กดกระดิ่งเพื่อที่จะได้เตือนเมื่อมีตอนใหม่ๆ ตอนพิเศษออกมานะครับ แต่ถ้าชอบเสื้อป๋าเต็ดทอล์กสามารถสั่งซื้อได้ใน Facebook Fanpage หรือถ้าชอบตอนเก่าๆที่อาจจะพลาดไปนะครับไม่ได้ชมได้ยินเพื่อนเล่าให้ฟังว่าโอ้โหตอนนี้สนุกมากคลิกเข้าไปดูได้หรือตอนนี้ที่สนุกเช่นกันก็ดูได้อีกเหมือนกันขอบคุณสำหรับการติดตามและเจอกันใหม่ในตอนต่อไปครับ